Hi, I'm Mark Waid, and you're listening to the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.
Well, greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 306 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. Hello, I'm your host, Rick Verbanas. You know me, you know my co-host. He's the best gosh darn one out there. It goes by Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob. I can't remember. Give me a reminder. I reject memorabilia. Keychains and snowstorms. Give me a reminder. Give me a reminder. I collect. I reject memorabilia.
I have no idea. I'm sure it must be a poem. Is it a poem?
It is not a poem.
No.
It is a song, which is like a poem with music.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'm familiar. Okay.
Yeah. And it is a song by a band you might have heard of them called Soft Cell.
Oh yeah, Soft Cell. Okay.
Tainted Love.
Yeah, of course, Tainted Love. Right.
Yeah. It was one of I had one of their releases, and it's called Memorabilia.
Wow, I love memorabilia, Rick. Are you a memorabilia guy?
I am.
Yeah.
You think after 5.5 years, Bob, you probably know the answer to that question.
Well, yes and no, right? Because I know you're into Captain America memorabilia.
Collectibles, yes.
Right, collectibles and Eagles memorabilia.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I don't, that's it. That's like the limits of my knowledge of you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have other types of memorabilia.
Yeah, like what?
Both. I would say I don't know. Do you consider them memorabilia or you consider them mementos?
Ooh, interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So I may have a whole bunch of like old concert tickets. Ticket stubs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that memorabilia? I've got some old stuff, but I would say yes. If someone was to come into my man cave right now and they would say, oh my goodness, you've got two things in your life that you really are passionate about. Now, you folks can see behind me the comic book stuff.
Yeah.
But a good portion of this room is devoted to my favorite sports team.
Yeah. I quickly looked up the difference between memorabilia and memento while you were speaking, Rick, because I wanted to cut to the chase because I know that when you publish this, people are going to chime in about the difference between memento and memorabilia. So I'm going to steal their thunder. So memorabilia apparently describes a collection of items related to a specific person, event, or hobby. So I guess, the stuff behind me could be considered memorabilia. Collectibles, Captain America, my hobby. Well, a memento is a single personal item kept to remember a specific memory. So, like concert tickets, right? Could be both, right? Could be both. Could have a collection of concert tickets. Could also be, evocative of a particular concert that you went to. So, I love collecting stuff. I got obviously all this Cap stuff, and I like pins. But I also I started getting in recently. So, I'm a big fan of the Sentinel of Liberty badges.
Yeah.
Right. So those are obviously very popular in the 40s, but they weren't the only badges like that were created in the 40s and sent out as promotional items for different radio shows or, those big, what were those big like books that they used? My dad used to collect them when he was a kid. Anyway, they were very like thick, hardbound, cardboard bound books and kids' books. And so that lots of like detective, special agent badges and things like that. So in the last maybe year and a half, I've kind of gotten into that as well, where they're very inexpensive, but they're so cool. It's kind of like, a Sentinel of Liberty badge because you can feel them and touch them, and you can like, oh,
Mhm.
there was probably a 12-year-old who had these. But then there were also news strips that were published at the time that were a tie-in to the radio shows and these promotional items. So I collect those as well.
Drink more Ovaltine.
Yeah, Ovaltine was a big sponsor, and some of the other companies, breakfast cereal companies, and so it's something I like to collect as well. I think I think a lot of people like to collect stuff, Rick, but there's some weird people out there who don't, like my wife.
Weirdo.
Weirdo. Yeah, she's like, what on earth are you collecting that stuff for? She just doesn't get it. But I know there's people like that out there, Rick. But feel for that.
Man,
yeah,
it's almost like they don't have a hole in their heart.
I know she's going to hear this, so play it safe. But at least she puts up with me.
Yeah,
Collecting
and that's the key.
That's
I think many of our listeners out there are saying, "Thank God for my significant other who puts up with this," because if you could find that person, you hold on to them.
That's it. That's right.
What's funny is, I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I have been since a child, and so the rest of my downstairs here, it was almost like a Eagles sports bar, right? I mean, with everything and the TV, and I've got a wet bar and all that fun stuff. Lots of memorabilia all over the place. And I've got a friend, and his girlfriend came over, and he's a big Buffalo Bills fan, and we were watching I don't know, an Eagles Bills game together, and he just said something like, "Oh, Rick, what do you think you're a bigger fan than me?" And I don't know, man. Look around, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend says to him, kind of whispers to him, like, "He's just a collector." I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know how to take that, but
Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it reminded me. Did you ever see the movie Memento?
Does it have like Nick Cage in it or something?
No. It came out in 2000.
Yeah.
And it starred Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce.
A very young Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
And it had Carrie Ann Moss from
got me.
From
Matrix,
right?
Yeah.
Joe Pantoliano.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
But it's a psychological thriller where the lead character played by Guy Pearce, he has a short-term memory problem.
Okay.
Whereas like he literally could be talking to you, and then 2 minutes later, not totally forget he had a conversation with you. Like it's a really bad medical condition, and so his girlfriend or wife gets murdered, and he's trying to solve her murder because the police gave up, and so he's tracking down, so he's writing himself notes everywhere.
Yeah.
And because he keeps forgetting, and then he comes across people who are not very scrupulous.
Yeah.
And they kind of take advantage of his short-term memory. But I want to see the movie again because I loved it. But there's one scene in the movie that's a little gross, and I don't.
Okay.
I kind of like. Do I want to see it again? Like, I want to get my wife to see it, but she'd be totally grossed out by the scene, and it's fairly early in the movie.
Interesting. You piqued my curiosity now.
If anybody out there who's seen Memento, please in the comments share if you saw it, what you thought of it, and if you totally also were grossed out by that particular scene. And I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Interesting. I feel like I'm the only one in the room who doesn't know what you're talking about, so I'm gonna have to go educate myself.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
If you want a psychological thriller,
that
keeps you like on the edge of your seat, great movie.
All right. I'm gonna check that out.
Okay. It's I was just looking it up right now. 94 Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh.
And 8.4 on IMDb.
Wow. Does anybody get a high Rotten Tomatoes score anymore? It's like just gotten so, terrible out there.
Oh, what'd you think of the Spider-Man movie?
I have not seen it.
Oh, okay.
I have not seen it.
I am surprised by that.
I really did want to go see it this week, but I had to install a ceiling fan. All the shows were completely sold out by the time I try to get
crazy.
I know. Well, we've got the one theater in town, so
okay.
Yeah, so it does get booked out.
Yeah, I took my wife, son, daughter, the boyfriend, the five of us. We went and saw it Saturday night, which was 2 nights later than I wanted to see it.
Yeah,
because I hate spoilers.
Yeah.
So by the time people were listening to this, I think the movie had been out for a few weeks. But
yeah.
Great.
So did you?
I enjoyed it.
Did you get a small loan?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And I took them all out for dinner beforehand too.
Oh,
I
took my kid out to go see like the Odyssey, like for a matinee, and it was like $100.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, we should probably get to today's.
Oh, yeah. We got a show to do. Right.
Yeah. So today, we're doing something a little different. We've got 2 short stories from the monumental Captain America 600.
Yeah, big issue.
And in fact, I've got my copy here. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's like 100 pages, isn't it?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And actually, I had my store when this came out. I remember this being on the shelves. We'll get to that in a second. But I'll tell you why we're covering these 2 short stories. One has to do with our guest next episode. So we have a guest joining, and we'll talk a little bit about that after we cover the first story. The first story, I think it's like 10 pages that we're going to cover. And then we're like, well, that's not enough. So we picked out a 12-page story that we will do after that. Anyway, both are great stories that we're hoping that the listeners will enjoy.
Yeah, I think good choice. There's a lot of great stories in this issue. What was the cover price on a 100-page issue? Gosh, it must have set you back $10 back in the day.
Let me see. Get my readers on. It was $4.99.
Well, all right, that's not so egregious.
Yeah, well, that was 2009 prices.
True.
Yeah, so it was a lot. Like there were 2 covers. 2 main covers. There are a couple of variants, things like that. There was the Steve Epting cover, which is the one that I got.
Yeah.
And then there was the Alex Ross cover.
Yeah.
But both of them featured predominantly the Bucky Barnes Captain America on the front of the cover.
Right.
And so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which cover did you get?
Both.
Yeah,
both. I got.
As soon as I asked the question, I was like, "That's a stupid question." Stupid question.
I have a hard time turning down an Alex Ross cover, and they're not worth anything, but I just love looking at them. And by gosh, this guy's a talent. I mean, the Epton cover is beautiful as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think that Alex Ross, he's going to do okay.
Yeah, I hope he really, I hope he gets a break.
Yeah. So this was a huge issue, not only physically, but it went back to the legacy numbering, right, of 600. So they kind of did a special thing in there where they put every single cover leading up to 600. So this included all the covers from volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and all the way leading up to this. So it's really cool. Oh, and Tales of Suspense too, and Captain America comics. Now I think about it, in Golden Age, so it had all those covers, which is pretty cool to see. It had a couple reprints in there, like from Captain America Comics 16, which was a Red Skull story. The first story was called 1 Year After, and it was written by Ed Brubaker, and then had several different artists do that. Would you like to hear the solicitation, Bob?
Yeah, I bet it's a doozy.
Where were you when Captain America died? It's the anniversary of the day Steve Rogers was killed, a day of reflection and mourning in the Marvel U. A time to look back on the things Steve did and what he stood for. Or is this issue actually the beginning of the most wicked plot twist since issue 25? Yeah, actually, it's both. Plus, contributions from Cap creators past and present, including a very special essay by Joe Simon, a classic story from Cap's Golden Age, a full gallery of 600 Cap covers, and more anniversary shenanigans that you can shake a shield at.
I like that. Shake a shield. I'm going to start using that.
I thought you were going to say shenanigans.
Well, I like shenanigans as well. But
Yeah. So this came out, it had a release date of June 17th, 2009, cover date of August 2009. So I actually sold my store in 2009, but it was in, I want to say September or something like that. So a few months after this came out. But I do remember this sitting on my shelf, and I had a big stack of the Epting cover and a big stack of the Alex Ross cover. All right, so the first story that we're going to cover is actually the third story in this book. It's called, what is it called, Bob?
Persistence of Memorabilia, Rick.
Yeah, and it's written by Mark Waid and penciled by Dale Eaglesham, and also inked by him. Do you know Dale, don't you?
Yeah, the United States of Captain America. He did that series.
He did. His first two Captain America comics were actually Volume 3 in 1998.
Mhm.
He was the penciler between Ron Garney and Kubert. So he did Captain America 6 and 7, with the scrolls.
Yeah.
So he penciled the interiors on that.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't done any Cap work until now, until
Yeah.
this particular story in 600. And then, yes, years later, he did the United States of Captain America miniseries. The colorist is Paul Mounts, and the letterer is Joe Caramagna and Chris Alopoulos. All right, so we open up to the first page of this story, and we see Captain America Comics #1 that we're all familiar with, the famous one with Captain America punching Adolf Hitler. And we see a hand holding it. We begin with this, the earliest known piece of official Captain America merchandising, a fictionalized account of Steve Rogers' origins and early career, a near mint first issue of Captain America Comics from 1941. Do I hear 10,000?
Here.
And then we cut to outside of the building, where there's a reporter and a cameraman interviewing a man in a trench coat. He's got some shaggy brown hair and beard, and he's got a rolled up newspaper underneath his arm, and it's raining outside. And the female reporter's got a microphone in his face. Outside the upscale establishment, Dayborn and Company, coincidentally, mere blocks from the site where Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, was tragically gunned down only last month. An important detail given the nature of the auction being held inside even now. I'm here with Joseph Paglino, owner of the world's largest and most valuable collection of Captain America memorabilia. Joseph, tell us, as someone who so obviously loved the man many refer to as the country's Sentinel of Liberty, why have you suddenly put that collection up for sale? Well, Mary, it wasn't an easy choice to make. How much did Captain America's actions in the weeks leading up to his death contribute to your disillusionment with your childhood hero? I'm not disillusioned. As the most prominent opponent of the recent Superhero Registration Act, Captain America died in disgrace. No, he arrested for defying the laws of his own country out of a misguided sense of nostalgia for simpler times. That's not... Were you surprised when Marvel Comics, under protests from stockholders to distance themselves from his crimes, sold the publishing license and canceled his series? I was very I can imagine. But Steve Rogers' assassination is your gain. Dayborn estimates that the value of your collection has increased tenfold since his death. And that has to be exciting, right? You'll be a multimillionaire. And isn't it really always about the money? No, not at all. This isn't about taking, it's about giving. And he walks into the building. So we cut back to where the original panel opened up, and it is an auctioneer who is standing up at a podium with his gavel. And in the audience is several different onlookers who are ready to bid on the next item. Next item is an authentic photograph from Guadalcanal dated 1942. A rare picture of Captain America in action during World War II. And what do we see, Bob?
We see Captain America coming off a landing craft with several soldiers behind him, and Cap's got his shield in his left hand and his right hand raised in the air, beckoning them forward to the shore, even as there are bodies littered in the surf at his feet.
Yeah, it's a black and white photo, and directly behind him is a brawny man with a dark mustache and 5 o'clock shadow. He is accompanied here, I am told, by members of the 4th Infantry Division, if that describes any of the bidders among you. And we see a close-up of an older man who is wearing his dress uniform and wearing medals, and he is sitting in a wheelchair and holding a paddle. And the next panel, we see it was that man with the mustache many, many, many years later.
I mean, this is a great panel, isn't it, Rick? I mean, because
is.
it is transitioning between his younger self and his older self. It's really stunning.
It is. And we see Cap in the next panel running, and this is not a black and white photo. This is a vivid color memory from this soldier. Sold to number 78. Next up, who is smiling because he won. A true rarity, the badge worn by Steve Rogers during his short time as a New York City police officer. And there's a police officer sitting in the audience. And we cut to a memory, and it's Steve as the police officer next to this younger officer who's now older sitting in the audience. Sold to number 132. Next item up for bid, from a later era of Captain America comics, a very special assortment of original art done by Steve Rogers himself during his days as a professional illustrator. Let's start the bidding at, and then bursting into the room, Bob, is a guy, looks a little overweight, but he's got a suit on, tie, and kind of like an orangey brown hair and a beard, and he just points at the auctioneer and he yells out, $200,000. That's a very generous opening, sir. Do I hear 250? Anyone? No? Sold to number 15. And he comes right up to the podium with a checkbook and a pen in his hand. Yeah, how do you want that check made out? Sir, you'll have to wait until the auction is over to claim. Did I mention 200 grand? Give 'em. I'm going to press. And he reaches for the artwork. And by the way, there's a young lady who is holding up the artwork. And did you notice, Bob, that she is wearing gloves?
I did. Smart move. These are two really important pages, Rick.
Yeah. Security. And sure enough, they come walking up. All right, I'll wait. But these are going to make me a fortune. I got the official exclusive rights to publish new Captain America comics. And we're going to do stories showing the world what a traitor Steve Rogers was to the laws that hold this nation together. Thank you, Tony Stark, for doing right by the USA and bringing that crook to accountability. And the cop who was sitting in there, he's like, jerk. Isn't that the guy whose daddy bought him a comic book company? Get him out of here. Oh, what? Like I'm the only guy here looking to roll this investment into a profit? I'm putting Roger's art into the first issue, and it'll be like printing money. Okay, I'll wait my turn as he's getting escorted out of the room. And then we see other pieces of memorabilia that are being auctioned. The peace flag carried by Captain during a protest rally, and that went to winner 379. The suit worn by Rogers during his nomad phase, and that one was won. And finally, the crown jewel of the Paglino collection. As most of you know, during the last days of the Second World War, Captain America fell into a suspended animation and was eventually rescued and revived by the Avengers. Tony Stark, Iron Man, was friend with Steve Rogers for many years before the Registration Act eventually divided them. And it was Stark himself who welcomed Steve Rogers onto the team and into the modern world by personally presenting him with this Rogers' original Avengers ID card. Bob, how's that look?
That is, it looks beat up a little bit. It's a little tattered around the corners and edges, but they've got it in a nice shadow box with glass on it, and it is the Avengers ID card with Cap's smiling face emblazoned on the card.
And it's signed by.
It's signed by Iron Man as the chairman, and of course, Jai Rich signs as the National Security Council director, and then signed by the president, William Clinton.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Like they decided, whoop, we're going to say that Cap came out of the ice during Clinton's administration.
Sure. Yeah.
In 2009, they decided to do that, which makes sense because that would have been the mid 90s, early. Yeah. Well, right. So they're basically saying that, yeah, it's been 15 years since Cap's been out of the ice.
Sure. Yeah.
Rolling time scale.
Yeah. Yeah. Sliding time scale.
This authentic artifact is a symbol of the early bond between the two men, and it is unique. Bidding begins at 100,000. Who'll start? And there's a nicely, sharply dressed woman in the back, holding a paddle 367. How would you describe her, Bob?
She's buxom. She's got long blonde hair, a purple business suit on, and she's wearing sunglasses inside.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
she's serious.
And also she has a little bit of that nomad plunging neckline going on.
She does. Thank you. I didn't notice that at first, but you drew my attention to it.
Number 367 at 100,000. And then another guy, older guy, he's got his sunglasses on his head though. He puts his paddle up and says, 2. And then this other guy holding a pipe in his mouth. Who is this? Is he like Rockefeller?
I don't know. I thought it was Tony Stark's dad, for crying out loud.
I know,
He's
right?
got that look going on with the pencil.
A little Walt Disney look going.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. And he says 3. And then the woman behind, just sitting there all casual like, says 2 million. Money is no object, so don't test me. Sold for $2 million to number 367. That concludes our auction, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your items. And then we cut to the winners enjoying their items. Bob, why don't you take the listeners through?
Oh, I love this. These 3 panels, right? So the first one, we've got that old soldier at home sitting there with his wife hovering over his shoulder, and he's just looking at that photograph with love in his eyes, remembering those days from long ago, and presumably the friends that he made and friends that he lost. And in the next panel, we see that peace sign flag, and now it's framed and hanging on the wall, and we see what looks like to be perhaps two former hippies. They've got the flower power pants on and the ponytails, and they are standing there with their backs to the reader, holding hands, looking at the flag, while their children sit on the couch and look at them. And in that last panel, we see that police officer sitting at his desk, filling out some paperwork, and he's got a little smile on his face. And on his desk, in a shadow box, we see that badge that Steve Rogers wore as a police officer back in issues 139 to 159.
It's something interesting to me. Do you don't have an office where like people come and visit you and sit down in front of your desk, do you?
I do have
Okay.
I have an office. Yeah.
Do you have any memorabilia on your desk?
I do. Yeah.
Is it facing you or facing them?
It faces me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This one, the police officer has the shadow box of Steve's badge facing away from him
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that because you know what? That's like I'm trying to impress the people who are sitting here. Look at this. Look what I have. If he really wanted to appreciate it, he'd be looking at it every day.
Yeah. I think, it's obviously for the medium. But,
I know, Bob, but go with me here. We can't like everything.
Yeah, but yeah. But do you have anything on your desk at work?
No, I don't have a desk at work.
Oh, okay. All
no,
right.
I'm one of those people who lives works in
You're a nomad.
I am totally nomad.
You're a digital nomad. All right. All right.
Well, no, I go into the office, but I don't have an assigned seat, and we don't have offices. It's all open seating type of thing.
Okay. All right.
Don't get me started. So then we cut to the lady who won with the $2 million, and she walks into an office. And it's a dark office, and there's a guy sitting there. We don't see his back to us. So he just says, "Excellent. I've been trying to claim this for a very long time. I wasn't even sure it still existed. Thank you for being my proxy." $2 million for a piece of cardboard is a staggering amount for something that could be easily counterfeited, sir. Are we positive it's the genuine article? And he's taking it out of the box with a pair of tweezers. Without question. I recognize my signature. That'll be all. As he stands there, Tony Stark, with his arms clasped behind his back, staring at Cap's ID. Good night, Mr. Stark. So then we cut to remember that loudmouth guy who did the 200,000 for the art.
Oh, right, the guy who wanted the art, yeah.
Who's just like printing money, as he said, because he bought the rights to Cap's license. So he goes into his new office building, where the publishing building. Jenny, is the old man in? I can't wait to show him this stuff. We're gonna make a killing from the collectors. Alone, and he walks up to Jenny's not there. There's nobody behind. In fact, everything's been cleared off of her counter, and there are painters there who are painting over the name. What is this? What are you? Does my father know you're doing this? Your father's not here. I bought him out. Who is it, Bob?
Oh my gosh, it's Joseph Paglino, the guy who sold his entire collection.
I've had my eye on you for a while. You want to market a comic book about Steve Rogers, traitor? Well, I have bad news for you. We don't print lies about patriots in the pages of Captain America, sir. We print stories about good men who fight for what they believe in. We print the truth because nothing is more valuable than that. And he slams the door in his face. Good day. And what does it say on the door?
It says Joseph Paglino, publisher.
So that's what he took the money that he made off selling everything, and he bought the rights from this guy's
Smart.
dad.
Yeah. Smart, smart, smart. Um, I like that.
Hmm. I like the story.
I do. I like the story too for a number of different reasons.
Well, let's hear some of them.
Yeah. Well, one is it's, evocative of a lot of the episodes, obviously, in Steve Rogers' life as Captain America, but it's about memorabilia, and we all collect different things. You see, I got statues behind me. You're a big original art guy. I like Golden Age comics. I like, Sentinel of Liberty badges. Other people like Funko Pops. Some people, like trading cards. We collect things that appeal to us, that connect with us in
Mm-hmm.
emotional ways, and different things connect with people in different ways. And I like that Mark Waid really drove that point home. Something like that peace flag meant something very special to the couple that won it. That photograph, which would mean, probably nothing to somebody else, meant like everything to that old soldier, right? The Avengers card meant the world to Tony Stark. So different things have different meanings and evoke different emotional reactions in people. And I think this story really captured that, even as other things were going on at the surface level.
Bob, I couldn't have said it better. I agree with you 100%. I feel like as collectors, we often do it for nostalgia,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there is that connection to something that reminds us of something else,
Yeah.
whether it's simpler times, whether it's a favorite memory, whether it's something special. Um, but there's also, a financial part of collecting. And, sometimes they don't cost a whole lot and sometimes they do.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to take a bath, and on when they go to sell something. So they're hoping that, they can get their money back at the very least, maybe make a little something. And then there's people out there who make a living off of doing it too.
Yeah.
Um, but I I don't fault anyone who buys collectibles and sells collectibles. Because it's
Mhm.
people, have different ways of earning money. Um, Heck, I had a comic book store,
Right. Yeah.
so I
Sure.
certainly did it.
Yeah.
But I think in this story, where they point out that this guy not only was in it only for the money, but he had bad intentions.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And I love the fact that he got his comeuppance at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I think written by Mark Waid. He always has some things to say about the meaning of Captain America, and what Captain America stands for, and I like that was woven into this story as well.
Hmm. So why did we pick this story? Well, because next episode we have a guest on our show who is a marketing executive, a co-founder of several pop culture businesses. Um, in, and his name is Ed Cato. And he, one of the ones that we'll talk to him about a lot of different things because he's a very interesting guy. Because he's not only he was involved in developing the New York Comic Con. He's run other Comic Cons like the Syracuse Salt City, and he's the current organizer for Ithacon. And he speaks as a panelist. He just recently spoke at San Diego Comic Con. He's done a lot of different things, but one of the cool things that ties in with this story is he was co-founder of this business called Captain Action Enterprises, which is all about taking old properties and like redoing them for a new generation. And the lead property is Captain Action. Do you remember those action figures?
Sure do. Yeah. Yeah, they were awesome, right? You could get the basic Captain Action figure, but could also get all kinds of different costumes to basically turn it into whoever you want it.
Yeah, and the first run of different things that you could get Captain Action to dress up as was Captain America.
Right. Yeah.
And so this was back in 1966, and then Ed um, brought it back in 2011, I want to say. And so we'll have a great conversation about, you name it, about entrepreneurship, about toys and collectibles, and the power of nostalgia, and
Mm.
getting a new audience into it. Because he actually has illustrated comics. He teaches at Ithaca College, and one of the other cool things he does is he leads classes about graphic novels for kids of all ages. So many different things that we can talk about with Ed next episode.
Yeah, and there's some tie-ins with like Captain Action comics as well that I'm interested to talk about how they leverage those for for marketing the product. So
Yep. So come back next episode for that. Now, here's a bonus story that we wanna do for you. And Bob, what's the title to this one?
looking forward to this story, Rick, in memoriam, and it's a real it's pulls at the heartstrings. So
It does. It does. This one is written by Roger Stern, so people should not have that name should totally remind people of the work of Captain America. Great Captain America writer. He did the infamous John Byrne run, those 9 issues, and this actually is his first Captain America story in Captain America proper since his John Byrne story of 255. He did do a couple of stories in issues in Sentinel of Liberty back in 98 and 99. And then later he did the Captain America Corps miniseries, that 5-issue minis.
right,
He
yeah,
also did Captain America for Our Allies. So he's done a bunch of Captain America stories, but it was nice to pull him back for this particular story.
yeah, he's a favorite, that's for sure.
And it's illustrated by, and I'm gonna really try to pronounce this correctly, Kalman Androsfosky.
I think it's just Androsovsky.
Okay, show off. Can you name all of Kalman's works?
I can't. I looked him up, but I didn't commit him to memory.
Uh-huh. Can you name any of them?
No, not off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay.
But I wanted to see if he'd ever done a Captain America story before.
Not that I know of.
No.
No.
More sense.
He did the NYX. He did an NYX miniseries.
Uh-huh.
Did the interior art for that. He also inked this work. Colorist Marta Gracia and letterer Joe Caramagna and Chris Alopoulos again. All right.
Actually, I think he did some work in the Marvel Visions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember those? Yeah. Ha ha!
You got me.
Those are always a disappointment. I'm like, oh, that doesn't ring a bell. I'm going to check that out. And then you go, and it's like 1 page each. Like, how did they ever sell that? Like, who, the bait and switch.
All right. So this story, In Memoriam, if you recall the solicitation, it is in the anniversary of Steve's death. And this takes place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. You've done all right for yourself, Bernie. This is a beautiful house and a spectacular view. Thanks, Josh. It's what sold me on the area. Who is Josh?
Well, this is Josh Cooper, Rick, who first appeared in Captain America 237, was one of Steve Rogers during that time when Steve Rogers had a personal life.
Yeah, he was a neighbor.
Yeah, he was a neighbor, and so they became quite close and were friends. One of his friends outside of his superhero world.
Yep. And who's Bernie?
Well, our beloved Bernie Rosenthal, who also lived in the same brownstone apartment building and was for a time engaged to be married to Steve Rogers before they broke up and she went off to law school and followed a different path. So gotta love Bernie.
Yep. Yeah, and Roger Stern was the co-creator with John Byrne of Bernie Rosenthal. You still have the eye of an artist. The whole place looks so together. Hey, that's me. And you and Steve and Mike, all four of us from the Brooklyn Heights days. But I don't remember posing for this. You didn't. Steve drew us from memory. They're all I have left of him now. And Bob, can you describe what he's looking at?
Yeah, there are four pictures framed and matted and framed on the wall in groups of two, and in one we have a picture of Josh and Bernie, and then in the other we got a picture of Steve and a picture of Mike, and they are sort of black and white, so pencil and ink drawings, and they're all signed by Steve Rogers. You see the SR initials.
Yeah, and I was hoping you would have said these are all art from John Byrne.
Yes. Well, they are panels from the comics themselves. Yes.
Yeah, from so the Roger Stern days. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
That John Byrne and Roger Stern are still working together in this particular story.
Right. Yeah.
And what would you? How would you describe what Bernie's wearing?
Well, she's she's got a blouse on, and she's got some banglet bracelets on, and she's a little dour in this scene when we first see her. Right, she's got her arms crossed across her stomach, and shoulders are kind of slumped, and she's got her eyes closed, and she's kind of lost in thought, looking down at the floor.
Hard to believe it's been a year since you passed. I know. It seems like only yesterday that Mike introduced us. Steve, I want you to meet a friend of mine from college, Bernie Rosenthal. Pleased to meet you, Bernie. It's short for Bernadette, Steve, and believe me, the pleasure's all mine. And it's that famous scene when he first introduced to Bernie.
Yeah, that was back in issue 248, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I can't recall what we were wearing, but I'll never forget Steve's smile or those deep blue eyes of his. I'm going to be moving in across the hall, so I guess we'll be neighbors. And she gets off the couch and shakes his hand. Well, this is a very good area. I'm sure you'll like it here. I'm sure I will. Or that cleft in his chin. The man was definitely one of a kind. When I finally found out that Steve was Captain America, a whole lot of things suddenly made sense. I can't begin to imagine how hard this has been on you. I never stopped thinking of him, Josh. The good as well as the bad. Remember when you both helped me move? Oh, yeah. I never felt so beat. But Steve wasn't even winded. This is the last of the boxes, Bernie. Where do you want it? Just set it down anywhere, Steve. I'll unpack everything later. Mike showed up too late to help. Claimed you'd gotten involved talking politics down at the firehouse. And you gave him a hard time about it. I don't believe it, Mike Farrell. You are the most apolitical man I know. Not when there's news like this. And what's he holding, Bob?
He's holding the Daily Globe newspaper. So not the Bugle, but the Globe. And the headline is Cap for President.
Captain America? For president? I couldn't figure out why Steve was so down on the idea. You'd actually vote for a man who wears a mask? Hey, better than voting for some crook who doesn't wear a mask. Captain America was standing there, right beside me. He was my neighbor, my bud, and I never knew. Neither did I, at first. But Steve was always so different. He often seemed distracted, and he'd sometimes disappear for days. Despite that, I found myself falling for him in a big way. He was handsome and charming, and so much fun to be with. And then one night, I told him I loved him. It just slipped out. I was surprised myself. But as soon as I said it, I felt Steve tense up. Talk about awkward pauses. It's not that he had a fear of commitment. That man wasn't afraid of anything. It's just that he kept so much of his life hidden. It wasn't until I found out who he really was that he opened up and he said he loved me. How did you find out? Remember that rally we all went to at Robert Moses State Park? How could I forget? It was supposed to be a peaceful protest. Just local folks standing up to a few homegrown neo-Nazis. Until things got ugly. Then Cap came out of nowhere to calm things down. But he hadn't come out of nowhere, had he? No, he's come there with us. And when Cap spoke to the crowd, appealing for reason, I heard and I just knew. And afterwards, he knew that I knew. And when did that happen, Bob?
That was in issue 275, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. And we talked a little bit about that with J.M. DeMatteis not too long ago.
Yeah.
It was so strange having a superhero for a boyfriend. I was drawn into a world I never knew existed. Like when Steve was attacked by Captain America, except Steve wasn't the real Steve. He was some sort of shape-shifting creature called Primus. Cap was hurt, rescued me from him, and I sort of lost it. And she jumps up behind Primus and gives him a half Nelson. Let him go, you stinking monster! You jumped a supervillain? I never thought of it that way. Not at the time. Bob, what else is Bernie wearing right there?
Well, she's gray pants, Rick.
Would you classify them as loose?
They're snug. They're snug. Yeah, they are form fitting.
Some would say.
Some would say
skin tight.
Some would say skin tight.
Okay.
Yes, except around the knees.
But Steve's life was so incredibly complicated. Don't get me wrong. It could be fun. I remember one late night at Avengers Mansion. You wouldn't believe how Steve could work out and still carry on a conversation. Hey, I still can't believe you two managed to keep all that a secret from us. It wasn't easy. I wasn't the only one who knew Steve's secret. He had some interesting associates. Who is she talking about, Bob?
I think that's Nomad.
Jack Monroe.
Yeah.
The Bucky from the 50s. Have a nice day at the office. Please come home alive. I tried my best to roll with it, but I always had to share Steve with the Avengers, with the whole world. It was hard for both of us. Things had to change. That's why I went off to law school. I tried to keep in touch. Steve even visited me a couple of times. But when I finally returned to the city, things had changed too much. I still loved Steve, but he had moved on. Even so, our lives kept intersecting, often under the weirdest circumstances. Not long after I passed the bar, I discovered that Mike had gotten mixed up with that vigilante group, the Watchdogs. Mike, of all people. And when I tried to help him, the other Watchdogs took me hostage. Steve got me out of that fix, and Mike turned himself in. And we see a scene here of Bernie being held by one of the Watchdogs with a gun to her head. Some friend I was. I should have picked up on how troubled Mike had become. But I was so busy studying for my doctorate. Don't you dare blame yourself, Josh Cooper. There was nothing you could have done. How can you say that? Because of what I know? Mike tried to turn his life around. he testified against the watchdogs, and he served his time. But while he was in prison, he fell in with some mutant inmate. The guy called himself the Dead Ringer, if you can believe that. And he manipulated Mike into becoming a costume super patriot. It wasn't until I was threatened that Mike came to his senses. And we see Steve Rogers in his Captain America armor during his later stages, standing there as Bernie is kneeling over a fallen Mike who was wearing a super patriot costume as he dies. Mike didn't have any family, but we'd been friends since college. That's how I wound up with his helmet and his ashes. The autopsy revealed a brain tumor. The doctors think that's what caused Mike's erratic behavior, his wild mood swings. It may have been growing for years. We found out much too late to do anything. Even so, I could have been a better friend to him, to a lot of people. Bernie, where were you when Steve died? I was there. I've been monitoring the controversy over the Superhuman Registration Act, figuring it was just a matter of time before the courts got involved. When the news came down that Cap had been arrested and was going to be arraigned, I headed straight for the federal courthouse. I wanted him to see at least one friendly face in the crowd. As it turned out, there were thousands. And what do we see, Bob?
Well, it is the barricaded crowd outside the federal courthouse where they were leading Steve up the steps to his arraignment. And Bernie is in the crowd, and there's lots of folks, and some of them are carrying pro Captain America signs, and some are carrying signs that call him a traitor.
Yeah, but I think it's more of the former.
It is definitely more the former. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Certainly a lot of free Captain America signs in the crowd.
It was shameful the way they treated him. I'd never seen Steve look so grim. I called out to him, but so did a lot of people. I don't think he heard me over the crowd. And then
Blam!
Cap gets shot from behind. And Bernie yells out, "No!" And then we come back to present time. She has her head in her hands. And there was nothing I could do. I wanted to run to him. The crowd had other ideas. Steve had cheated death so many times, but I heard the shot. I saw him fall. Josh comes up behind to comfort her. And she pushes away the tears with the palm of her hand. I couldn't stay in the city. Not after that. I suppose that makes me a coward. What? No. I'm not Steve. I can't fight on like he did. I couldn't do what you do, Josh. Working with learning disabled kids. Listen, you've already done a lot with your life. You're a good lawyer. The pro bono work you've done for Native Americans is proof of that. So you can't be like Steve. Well, neither can I. But it doesn't end with him. We do what we can. We try to make things better in our own way. That's all anyone can do. All right, then. There's a friend that we still need to do something for. Come with me. And they get into her Jeep, and they go out into the New Mexico desert. And there's a big moon behind them in the middle of the night. And she has Mike's ashes from the urn, and she's throwing them out to the wind. I'd say the Kaddish, but Mike was never much for ceremony. So I'll just say, be at peace, Michael Farrell. You were loved. Bernie, Is this legal? I'm a lawyer. Let him sue me. It's what Mike would have wanted. And then there's some fireworks going off.
Boom.
Fireworks? Of course, red, white, and blue. It's a tribute to Steve. Nice. But I thought there wasn't going to be an official commemoration. It's not official, but you can't silence hearts and minds. I think Steve would be all right with that. And then we cut to the two of them standing in the desert, looking up at the fireworks from a distance. And in the skyline is Steve Rogers in his Captain America uniform and Mike Farrell in his fireman uniform. And there's a quote from Steve Rogers. I have worked and fought all my life for the growth and advancement of the American dream. We must all live in the real world, but it is the dream, the hope, that makes the reality worth living. You need to but look within yourselves to find the people you need to keep this nation strong, and, God willing, to help make that dream come true. The end.
Good story.
Yeah.
That's a heartstring puller, right?
It is.
It
totally is.
Yeah, yeah. It's maybe it's me. I mean, I'm a Cap guy. You're a Cap guy. I know you're a Daredevil guy. Other people, I like Nick Fury. But like, you'd be hard pressed, with maybe some rare exceptions, to find a character who consistently, provides comic book stories that are so inspirational at a personal level.
Mm.
That talk about something bigger than the character and the character's life, right? And particularly when it's in the hands of a DeMatteis or a Mark Waid or a Roger Stern. There's great storytelling, but there's something more. Right? I'm having a hard time putting this into words, but it's always something that gives me a little goosebump sometimes in some of these stories.
Yeah. Yeah, it does definitely come down to the writer. And I liked both of these stories today. In Memoriam definitely pulled on the heartstrings a little more because of the nature. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
That quote from Steve Rogers at the end, do you know where it's from?
I don't. I can't recall.
It is originally from Captain America 250, which was the Cap for President issue.
Yeah.
That Roger Stern wrote. And it was when he was addressing the audience at the podium saying he was not going to run.
Yes, declining.
But to look within yourselves.
Yeah.
And so it's cool Roger Stern, brought back that quote. I guess it was something that he really liked when, back in the day in 1980.
And this story also, I mean, it just reminds me how much I like Bernie.
Yeah, right.
Just a solid person, solid character who can always bring back, and there's always something more they can develop in her. So
yeah, and while Roger Stern created her, J.M. DeMatteis really took her to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And their relationship too.
Right.
It's a shame Mark Grunwald didn't want to continue that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that, they tried. It's one of those things, like when she said, and they had that flashback, like, oh, he came to visit me a couple of times. And we did those issues during the Captain storyline, probably in like the 340s or something like that. And I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've had a relationship and one goes away somewhere and then you try to reconnect afterwards. And
Right.
it's like, it's just not the
It's
same.
just not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I haven't, because I've only ever loved one woman. I've only ever dated one woman. And so, she may or may not be listening to the show.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but you're right, and yeah, we know, you're right. When Grunwald took over, that relationship kind of, went its way. But this story really drives home the point of, almost why it was necessary, right? I mean, how would you
Yeah.
navigate that? I mean, he's not Peter Parker and MJ sort of thing. They couldn't even figure that how to make that one work long term.
Yeah.
So it would have been difficult. Whereas, Sharon provides a whole other dynamic, and she has her own life and her
Yeah.
own,
And even now in the current Zdarsky run, they're addressing what their relationship is all about.
Yeah.
They address that and kind of like, well, we really can't be together all the time because we're always looking for the next adventure, but we can't be apart from each other because we really do love each other.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
Bob.
Relationships are hard, Rick.
They sure are.
Between two working people.
Mm-hmm. I go first.
Okay. Favorite panel?
Yes. It was this one in memoriam.
Mm-hmm.
So that page where Cap's in the Avengers working out and he's doing a backflip,
yep.
and she's like, haha, bravo.
Yeah.
The panel right next to that
okay.
is Josh sitting on the couch holding his coffee, and Bernie coming over and sitting on the edge of the couch, and she's got her hair kind of over one of her eyes, and she's holding her coffee, kind of close to her chest, and there's a fern in the background.
Yeah.
And there's shadows going on. Like, there's a lot of detail in this story.
Yeah.
The artist, I thought did such a great job in creating an atmosphere. There's details of her place, the walls, the decorations, but it was the mannerisms of the two talking to each other that just seemed so realistic in the way they were addressing. And I thought this panel, just like he's holding his head, kind of like, I can't believe they had a secret from us. And she's kind of like acting kind of like, well, was this? I don't know. I just feel like the artist did such a great job capturing human interaction.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's there's so much detail. Like I'd like that even before she points out Mike Farrell's helmet, you can see it on the fireplace, right? So if you're eagle-eyed, you catch that out of the corner of your eye and wonder if that's part of the story or if that's just something. So a lot of great background detail in addition to the mannerisms of the characters themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you? You have a favorite panel?
I do. I'm going to break the rules a little bit. And I'm going to go, I think it's around page 164. I'm sorry.
Which story are we talking about?
This is Persistence of Memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm trying to find it now. Hold on. So it'd be around page 64 of this massive tome. And it is the bottom three panels of the page. It's the one with the old man sitting at home with his wife, looking at the photo, and the hippie couple looking at the peace flag and the police officer. I love this because it speaks to me about the beauty of collecting memorabilia or keeping mementos, and how each thing can mean something different to somebody that nobody else might get, but to that person, it means something very deep and personal and connects to the soul. And I think that's captured so beautifully in these three panels.
I won't allow it because that's what I wanted to do, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do it because it's three panels and it's not fair.
Well, I can pick a different one.
No, I'm kidding. That's fine. But I actually did consider it because, as I mentioned while I was reading these, that I really liked them.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, what's going on your T-shirt?
I'm going to have to go with the panel right above it, that Avengers card.
What? Where? What do you mean
Yeah,
right above it? Well, there's
right.
no. It's not right above it.
Oh, I'm
Those
sorry. That's
those three.
I'm sorry. The previous. Hold on, lost my page. It's the previous page.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
That's mine. That's going on my T-shirt.
Well, we can both have a T-shirt with this on it, Rick. It's that beautiful, right? So, who would want a big blown up Avengers ID card on their shirt?
I
Cap sleeve,
know. I
right?
wanted
How
that.
can we not have that?
Ha ha ha. All right, I'm gonna have to pivot.
And we're like it's like when women live together and there's periods sync.
Shut up. Just stop.
I feel like we're sinking.
I'm not happy. All right, I'm going to go with the same story, The Persistence of Memorabilia. I'm going to go with the second page, third panel. Take away the blurbs and just the art. I want that half cover of Captain America final issue
Oh, right.
and have that on my chest because people will
Yeah.
be like, "What? I don't remember that Captain America comic at all."
Is that a variant?
I'm gonna be like, "Yep, that's because you're not a real fan."
I'm a gatekeeper.
All
love
right.
it. I love it. So, and your time capsule.
Oh gosh.
Who knows, right?
I mean, both stories are time capsules.
They really are.
Which story do you want as your time capsule? I'll pick the other one.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm going with In Memoriam as my
right.
my time capsule.
And I'm going to go with the persistence of memorabilia. Why not, right?
Yeah, there's so much going on in these that they fit a time capsule beautifully.
Yeah. You know, the thing that really struck me reading this, the persistence of memorabilia, was this character, Joseph Paglino, and who that, like, it has to look like somebody in real life. And like, I was racking my brain to try to figure out who this was supposed to be like a stand-in for, you know? And I couldn't quite nail it down, but maybe somebody out there in our listening audience will have some thoughts about who that was supposed to look like or be like.
Yep. Way to build us up and then give us nothing, Bob.
I'd like to leave some breadcrumbs out there for our loyal listeners, right? Because, you know, I like to be part of the excitement.
Yeah, you're a giver. All right, that was fun. I'm glad we did these two stories because when else were we going to be able to do these, right? I mean, it's just not part of like continuity's for sake, you know. There's, but they are sentimental and heartwarming stories. All right, next episode, as I mentioned, Ed Cato is going to be here. Come back for that. That's going to be a fun conversation. And also just keeping you guys in the loop of what's coming up. After that, we're going to kick off our next long tail story. So this is what normally the first Wednesday of every month we have a guest. Second one is the long tail story. So we're going to be kicking off the next one, part 1, with episode 308. Then come back with 309 because we're going to be doing the next Captain America comic book fantasy draft, number 7, Bob, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple of guests on for that to go through our drafting characters, building our stories. Then episode 310, we've got a nightcap with special guest Mark Domeyer who's going to come on, and he's going to do the top 10 Avengers stories featuring Captain America. Bob, we got a month worth of really cool episodes coming
There's some fun stuff there and some good. I'm especially interested in Mark's top 10 list because I'm not widely read in Avengers stuff. So this will be some great reading lists for me.
100%. All right, Bob, any final comments before we call this a show?
No, I can't wait till next week and talking to Ed. That's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. For Bob Lucius, I'm Rick Verbanis. And you, if you don't mind, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. You know what to do if you're on YouTube right now. Give us a thumbs up. And we love your comments. We love a 5-star review on Apple. It's been a little while since we've seen one of those. And we love interacting with you in our Facebook group. So we hope to see you there. And as always, thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. Remember that rally we all went to at Robert Moses State Park?
Did
Sorry.
you just pronounce it Robert?
I did.
Is this what I have to look forward to? You're going to start introducing me as Robert.
Oh, Robert.